Let me guess, you can't sleep. Your blood sugar might be a mess. Maybe you've been told you have metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance. You're starting to gain weight, especially around the middle and that midsection, getting a little thicker there. I know it can happen. And that's why in this episode, I'm going to talk about cortisol, melatonin, light, dark, and the circadian rhythm. When we think about the foundations of health, these are major foundations of health, but it's important that you understand the why. So I'm going to dig into it a little bit and I'm going to give you practical, tactical ways that you can support these without spending, well, any money, quite honestly. But I just need you to nail it when it comes to your circadian rhythm. So let me explain the why before I get to the what to do. Why am I not sleeping? Why am I gaining weight around the middle? Obviously, there's a lot of reasons for that. But if it's because of your cortisol and melatonin being dysfunctional, well, those are huge. So your body is not quite 24 hours. I know, just we talk about the 24-hour system, your phone, your computer, your tablet all work on the 24-hour clock. You as a human do not. You have to set and reset yourself every single day. And guess what the number one thing is that determines where you are in your day, what hour, what time you're on? It's light. Notice I didn't say yoga. Notice I didn't say ashwagandha. I didn't tell you to go do a breathwork exercise. I didn't tell you to buy an app. None of those things. While they're helpful, and for a lot of reasons I do like them for the right person, it's literally light. How much light are you exposed to, whether it's full light or no light, and then we have darkness. Light is what helps us set our clock. Dark is what helps us reset our clock. So every day, through your eyeballs, your brain is judging what time of day it is, and that's how it's helping to set it. And we have these genes in our brain and are called the clock genes, appropriately so, because it helps you determine when things should and shouldn't do go on and go off. This is a master clock, the clock. And then we have little tiny baby clocks all throughout the rest of our body. And this is what helps determine getting up in the morning, go to bed at night, when your different glands and organs should work, when you should make a hormone or not, when you should feel hungry, when you should digest. A lot of your system funnels back to this major clock. Because remember, your intestines and your pancreas and your ovaries, they don't have eyes to the outside world. So they rely on certain activities you do through your day to determine, are we in daytime? Or are we in nighttime? But it's the master clock in your brain that handles light that determines this. So let's start at the beginning. Cortisol. A lot of you probably think cortisol is what causes weight gain. You're like, I hate cortisol. That's the stress hormone. And that's why I have the spare tire around my belly. And while chronic too high cortisol can absolutely contribute to that, cortisol is not the devil at all. You would die without cortisol. You have to have cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone made out of the adrenal glands, and it follows a 24-hour rhythm. It goes up in the morning. It's a natural rise to give you energy, get your butt out of bed, to reduce inflammation, to help give you a little bit of glucose. And then it drops down and is low at night so you can fall asleep and stay asleep. Whereas at night, melatonin starts to come out so that you can fall asleep and stay asleep. And then they just flip-flop, assuming you are on a day schedule. If you're a night schedule person, I'll get to you in just a second. Now, here's the thing about cortisol. If cortisol is dysfunctional, if it's too chronically high all the time, because like I mentioned, it can increase glucose, which is your blood sugar. So if you have chronic high levels of cortisol shooting out, or in your day, constant blood sugar issues because of the cortisol, then we have a problem. If you've ever been really stressed out at the doctor and you get your blood pressure taken and it's high and you're like, oh yeah, that's because I'm stressed out. It can be similar in your glucose. If you're really stressed out, your body goes, well, obviously you're going to fight a bear. So I'm going to give you a lot of blood sugar for your brain and for your muscles so you can fight the bear. But the problem is, of course, we're not fighting bears. It's computer work and it's text messages and it's in our kids, it's our partner, it's life, it's the news. It's all those things. So right away, if you have dysfunction in your cortisol, you can get blood sugar issues. I also mentioned inflammation. Do you have a lot of inflammation? Are you in pain? Are you swollen? Are you puffy? Do you have autoimmune? Inflammation can play a big role here. Now, cortisol going up in the morning helps to lower inflammation. So if you don't go up in the morning, you're actually more flatlined. You're not doing so hot in the morning. then you may wake up and go, man, everything hurts. I'm in pain. I feel really puffy. Like my autoimmune symptoms feel bad right now. And then eventually you get moving, you kind of feel like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. And you might be like, oh, finally, it took a couple hours, but I'm finally feeling better. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't because your cortisol is kind of low and slow all day long and not able to help you with inflammation. So you can see right away what your cortisol does to start your day off is important. Now let's end the day. Let's do melatonin. Melatonin starts to rise about like 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. And then it peaks somewhere between 2 to 4 a.m. Again, this is assuming you work in the day or up in the day and go to bed at night. So it peaks somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m. And this is the melatonin that's produced in your brain out of a gland called the pineal gland. You actually make melatonin in all the mitochondria of all of your cells. You make melatonin all over your body. It's a very potent antioxidant, but in your brain, it helps you set and reset the clock. It's a clock, it's a timer up from the brain. So the pineal gland starts to notice it's getting darker and you're starting to wind down. And so it's like, cool, I'm going to start making some melatonin. And you're a human and you're usually habitual. So even if it's the summer and you're exposed to more sun later in the day, you may still start to feel tired around the time you normally feel tired because, well, you're habitual. If you normally go to bed at 10 o'clock, your pineal gland is like, got it. Like 10 o'clock is the time we go to bed. Let's go. This is why switching time zones is so hard because your feet are in a different time zone or in a new time zone, but your brain is in the old time zone. And so your brain's like, wait a minute, what time is it? I don't understand. But your feet are like, we've moved time zones. Sorry about that. And that's why we get the disconnect when we travel and move time zones. But at night, we start to make melatonin, rises about between 2 to 4 a.m. That's the big peak. And then it falls through the night so that cortisol can take over for day shift in the morning. Melatonin being also a super important, like I said, antioxidant. It's a trigger to tell your pancreas, like, hey, don't make insulin right now, which has to do with your blood sugar. So it plays a role with inflammation. It talks to your immune system. So if your melatonin's a hot mess, if your melatonin is low and slow, it's not doing its job, it's getting put out dysfunctionally, then guess what? Once again, we're back to blood sugar issues. We're back to weight issues. We're back to immune system issues. We're even heart issues. There's research about dysfunctional sleep, melatonin, and cardiovascular disease. So you can see right away, you're like, holy crap, that's me. Like my day is high stress and I don't sleep very well at night. And I'm having a lot of the symptoms that you're talking about. Okay, so what do we do? Number one, it starts with light, right? I said it's not yoga, it's not ashwagandha, it's not breathing exercise, it's not cold plunging. Those things are great, but like you have to get light exposure first thing in the morning. And what's great is that's generally free, cheap, and easy. And by free, I mean, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere in the spring, summer, and early fall, you probably wake up and at least some light is out. It may not be full sun, but some light is out. So the idea is to get a little bit of first light exposure on waking. Don't lay in bed and play on your phone. And it can't be through a window. Ideally, you open the window or open the door to the outside. If you have outside space, like a patio or a yard or something, you're going to go outside and just enjoy the light for 5 or 10 minutes. So for me, now I know I'm lucky I have a backyard. In the morning, I make my caffeine, my tea drink. I feed my dog. I open the back door for the dog. And while the dog is running around the yard, I just enjoy the birds in the morning light. Now, don't be stupid. Don't look at the sun. Let's not burn your retina. You're just trying to enjoy the rising sun in the morning. When it's wintertime and there's not a lot of light, you can actually buy what's called a full spectrum light box. They're generally $20 to $30. Yes, there are very expensive ones that are like over $100, over $200 that are being marketed on social media. I'm not convinced of those. I will be honest. You just want a full spectrum light box. That box you would put on your kitchen counter or your bathroom counter or your desk, wherever you are, and turn it on. Again, 5 or 10 minutes, maybe longer in the winter because the winter is harder. And in the morning, it's usually pitch black. So same thing. I will get up, I will feed my dog, open my door, but it's pitch black because it's wintertime. And I will turn on my light box while I'm doing all these things so I can get exposure. I will have my light box. I will just take it with me. And mine is no bigger than It's a little bigger than an iPad. It's mine. And mine is just portable. I'm not selling it. My best friend has one that like sits on her desk like a lamp. I have another one. My other friend uses one that a light box that's like an alarm clock in the morning. It gently wakes up her whole room, so she gets that full spectrum light exposure. So just like look for what would make sense for you, what you want. Do you want something like over your computer? Do you want an alarm clock? Do you want something you can, plug in wherever you are and just go for that route? But it has to be full spectrum. Usually it'll say 10,000 lux. Now in the winter it is harder because it's not the same as the summer or spring. It's not like impersonating the sun is hard. So I understand the light boxes aren't like the most fantastic, but we do what we can. Now, you want to do this, timing is everything, first thing on waking. So again, don't lay in bed on your phone. The second thing is, if you are taking any kind of supplementation or doing anything in the morning for your health, you want to do it within 30 to 45 minutes of waking. Again, we're trying to encourage cortisol to go up in a natural, healthy rhythm. I don't want you to freak out and think, oh my gosh, I thought cortisol going up is bad. It has to rise naturally in the morning. Again, get your butt out of bed, lower some inflammation, get you going. So we're just trying to follow your natural rhythm, and you want to do it within that natural rhythm, which is usually 30 to 45 minutes. And I can tell you, if you have a rhythm problem, if I ask you this question and the question is, when you wake up in the morning, how long does it take you to feel motivated, ready to go, awake versus, yeah, I'm just conscious. I recognize it's the morning, I'm just conscious. It should take you 30 to 45 minutes. Some of you are going to go, it takes me 2 hours and 2 cups of coffee. And others are you going to go, I wake up in full panic. Like I wake up at a level 10 ready to go. We've got to work on that balance. That's cortisol in the morning, like ready, like either not working or working too hard. So by using light to our advantage and timing supplements, if you can, I understand some of you are on medication such as thyroid that doesn't play well with everything, and so you may have to adjust this, and that's okay. Like I said, we do the best you can. At night, it's the opposite. So I mentioned light. Now we're just going to do the absence of light, which is darkness. With melatonin, darkness is key. So other experts have talked about experiencing when the sun goes down and the night is like that red light at night. So if, depending where you live and what time of year, so at the time of year I'm recording this, when the sun starts to go down, it's kind of late. It's like 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock at night when the sky starts to turn reddish and then eventually gets darker. And in the winter, of course, it's much earlier than that. It's more like 3, 4 o'clock, unless it's a super rainy day where I live. So in theory, if you happen to notice that it's kind of that beautiful, like the sun is starting to set type of sky, and it fits in your schedule and it works for you, go outside, open a window, enjoy it for a couple of minutes. That, again, that red light helps to set the melatonin. But if you're like, that doesn't work for me, okay, cool. You're going to start to get off your screens about an hour before bed. There was a survey done through a sleep foundation, and they found on average, their respondents watched 3 hours and 30 minutes of social media before they went to bed. YouTube being the number one thing that was watched. Obviously, a lot of shows are on YouTube. People are going down rabbit holes on YouTube. People are searching all sorts of things on YouTube, watching. However, there are a lot of other social media platforms that people, of course, were watching as well. But 3 hours and 30 minutes before bed, that is a lot of screen time before bed. If that's you, if your phone has that ability, like a lot of iPhones have the ability to see your screen time, get an idea of how much time you're spending on social media, especially at night before bed. And if you are struggling with sleep issues, and if you are struggling with, let's say, glucose and weight and inflammation, can we reallocate some of those hours on social media to something else? And by something else, I mean, like, what can we do in the evening that's calming, that winds you down? Can you make tea? Can you read a real book? Can you listen to calming music? Can you talk to your friends and family? Can you focus on, like, if you're into artwork, like, can you do artwork stuff? Can you do puzzles? Can you do, and I know this sounds crazy where people are like, what? But you have to think of yourself as if you were putting your toddler to bed. We go through a whole routine with toddlers, don't we, right? We have bath time, we put them in pajamas, we read them a book, we sing them a song, and then we're calm, and then we snuggle and we go to bed. As an adult, that doesn't change. It shouldn't change. you probably also need to take a bath or, take magnesium or drink some chamomile tea. You need to get in your pajamas. You need to wind down, calming music, since no one's going to sing to you. And then, roll yourself into bed. It needs to be very similar about the last hour before you get into bed, if you can. I understand not everybody's schedule works like this. However, I'm just giving you ideally, like we did it for toddlers, we have to continue it for adults as best we can. Prep for tomorrow. If you have a house full of kids and work and what have you, do the putter thing. Make some chamomile tea, put on calming music, then start to prep everything for tomorrow. Prep backpacks, clean the kitchen, say goodnight to the kitchen, set up what you're going to do tomorrow, prepare your clothes, but just like low key it. Like you're just signaling to the body, like we need to go to bed, especially if you're not sleeping that well. Melatonin, we want to rise. If cortisol is being all dysfunctional, melatonin is being all dysfunctional, a lot of research has associated these two things with being dysfunctional with all sorts of autoimmune, potential cancers, cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, diabetes type 2. I mean, the list goes on and on. Even I've seen it like associated with dementia and Alzheimer's. Now, obviously, association doesn't mean causation, but knowing their mechanism of action in the body, I'm like, pretty good chance they definitely play a role. They are a risk if they're dysfunctional. So then once you're in bed, darkness. So that might mean you have to go buy the blackout curtains. That might mean you need to go buy a sleep mask that you absolutely love that covers, everything. Your eyes, it's comfortable, it's full length maybe of your eyes versus just something cute and little. You want something that has a nose cut out so that it will block around as you can. You don't want it to be too tight on your head so you don't wake up with a headache. With the band. So it might take you a few tries to get the right sleep mask, but use what might work for you. But darkness is key because remember, light and dark, light in the absence of light, which is dark, sets and resets your circadian rhythm every single day. And your circadian rhythm out of your brain is what helps play a role in all the other rhythms in your body, all the other clocks and all your organs and glands. And it also plays a role with the menstrual cycle. So women who struggle with regularity of their menstrual cycle, I often say, how's your sleep? How's your routine? How's your circadian routine? Because if they're like, oh my God, it's a mess. I travel all the time. I'm in different time zones. Or I'm a night owl. I stay up late till midnight, 2 a.m. Or I don't sleep well. I go to bed at 10, but I wake up at midnight. Then I wake up at 2. Then I wake up at 4. Right away, I'm like, oh, circadian dysfunction. It's going to play a role in the menstrual cycle. Obviously, this, of course, can not the same in perimenopause. Perimenopause is its own beast, but it still plays a role. It can make it worse. It can overlay. So I hope this was helpful in understanding the who, what, where, when, and why of the circadian rhythm, because sleep, weight gain, glucose, insulin, huge, huge issues. I mean, there was that study a couple years ago that 93% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. 93%. 93%. And while a lot of factors go into that, if we can at least focus on the first, 10 minutes of your morning, get some light if you can, take your supplements if you can, if that's when you take them, to get up, get your butt out of bed, get going. And at night, we do the opposite. You're going to take an hour before bed, if you can, 30, maybe you can only do 30 minutes of relaxed time. Like, what can you do to relax, wind down, get off your screens, start to dim some lights, and then be in complete darkness when you go to bed? Helps your cortisol, helps your melatonin. Both are tied into inflammation. Both are tied into the immune system. Both are tied into glucose and insulin. Both are very tied into sleep, of course. Like, what can you do? I just like to offer these practical, tactical tips and explain the why, because of course we are marketed to all day long, this supplement, this quick fix, that quick fix. And some of them are great. Some of them are truly, absolutely wonderful and can be very helpful. But if you don't even have the foundations dialed in, if you're up till midnight, 2 a.m, gaming on your computer, reading on your Kindle in full bright light, because you're sucked into your book, and then you're like, yeah, and I can't sleep. Like, after I turn everything off, I doom scroll for 2 hours. I get sucked down rabbit holes and I can't stop. And then I can't sleep. I'm like, let's start making some changes, because we need light and dark to set your rhythm and to help everything I just talked about. Because let's be honest, Hormones are like herding cats. Your cortisol and your melatonin, they're like herding cats. But thankfully, there are really great, free, cheap, and easy, practical and tactical things that you can do.